I would say one of the biggest learning, especially in this industry, is the relationship. Building relationship itself too, because now like most of our residents are coming from referral from the other facility, from the other families we took over, we took care in our homes. Like it could only go two things: either they will know you providing quality care, or they will know you on not really too good of an operator.
Welcome to the Ral Room Assisted Living Podcast with your hosts, Charlie Cameron and Alex Schlow. This is your go-to show for cutting-edge insights from industry leaders in residential assisted living.
Whether you're ready to launch your own assisted living business or looking to invest in this fast-growing, high-impact sector, we are here to equip you with the tools, strategies, and confidence you need to succeed. Get ready to ride the silver tsunami and change the future of senior care. Now on to today's show. Welcome back to today's episode of the Ral Room Assisted Living Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Schlow, and today we are thrilled to have James Contreras on the podcast joining us. James, can you give us a brief introduction to you, where you are right now in your assisted living journey before we jump back in time to how it all started?
Okay, so I'm James Contreras. I'm a nurse practitioner. Currently, I'm here in California by Los Angeles County. I'm currently operating 4 homes, all in Los Angeles County. Backtrack a little bit. Prior to that one, I've been working as a full-time nurse practitioner, family medicine. Why I went into residential assisted living is because majority, I would say 99% of the patients that I'm seeing are elderly. And towards the 3rd year of my practice, I started doing like mobile visits. Like I've been seeing residents in their care facilities, and I stumbled to this residential assisted living. That's part of my curiosity on it. And also on a personal level, 2 of my grandparents passed away of dementia, which is back home in the Philippines. We don't have this such residential assisted living. So I have a discussion with my wife. I said, maybe this is also something that we can start here on our own as a contribution, giving back to the community, providing a quality care and location for elderly.
That's amazing. Yeah, I know you started as a nurse first, correct? And then you went to become a nurse practitioner, and then now your assisted living business as well. That's awesome. What has it been like for you across that continuum of medicine, being a nurse and then being a provider and then now opening up that home? How's that transition been for you?
Surprising on my transition is not really a big change, I would say, because again, I've been dealing with elderly for almost on a daily basis. It's just like being more personal, because now I feel like I'm also responsible on their place where they're staying at. I feel more responsible that I can provide more quality care for them. So the transition really helped, especially coming from a medical background with our profession as a background as a nursing, then a nurse practitioner. It really helped me with the transition.
That's great. A question just related to that is a lot of folks think they have to have a healthcare background to get started in assisted living. Do you think that's true?
No, it's not really something true, I would say, because there's a lot of programs in there that help guide for someone, especially for someone who doesn't have any medical or nursing background. But on my experience itself, I felt like there's some advantage favorable on it, because knowing the resident itself, knowing their chronic diseases, it kind of gives us also an additional ample care, like anticipating what else we can provide them.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. I think healthcare experience certainly helps, but it's not necessarily something that you have to have. And you've been in the assisted living business for quite some time. I think you were saying it was 2017 when you opened your first residential assisted living home. So you have quite a bit of experience, and you're up to 4 homes at this point in time.
Yes, correct.
That is amazing. Let's talk more about the journey. You mentioned how you got started in residential assisted living. What do you think back in 2017 when you first were getting started? What was that most surprising challenge you faced when you first started operating your first home, and how did you overcome that?
After the very first home, I still remember the very first day that we're really on it. Okay, I spoke to my wife. This is our day one. So it's a mix of excitement and I would say some sort of anxiety. Like, are we being able to fulfill the responsibilities to this elderly? Like the feeling of family are entrusting you, their parents, that you will provide quality care for it. that's one of the challenges, like adapting on it. We can learn a lot, but not until you're already doing the actual work and participating on it. Actually, that's the biggest thing that I would say. But I was able to conquer it like through guidance on it. I've been communicating with other operators in our area and learning from their experience too.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be really helpful to have folks to help you along in that process. And I think that imposter syndrome that you mentioned, I think a lot of folks feel that is, oh man, am I good enough or worthy enough or capable to start a residential assisted living home and provide high quality care? And my answer to that is if your heart is in the right place, like you can absolutely provide high quality care in assisted living. And it's evident that your heart is there, especially since you've scaled now to 4 homes. And I'm excited to talk more about your scaling journey as well. But can you share any pivotal moments or maybe key decisions that helped shape your success in residential assisted living?
I would say one of the biggest learning that I would say, especially in this industry, is the relationship, building relationship itself too. Because now I would say like most of our residents are coming from referral from the other facility, from the other families. I mean that we took over or we took care in our homes. Majority of them are referral directly from the previous clients or the current clients that we have, and some of them also are coming from local hospitals or local skilled nursing facilities, which we have some good relationship as well. Like it could only go two things: either they will know you for providing quality care, or they will know you on not really too good of an operator.
Yeah, let's go ahead. I was going to ask this a little bit later on, but let's go ahead and pull this thread a little bit more when it comes to marketing and referrals. What do you think, James, are some key relationships for folks to build when they're first getting started and they want to increase occupancy in their home? They want to get more residents. Maybe before they get to the point where they're starting to generate more positive referrals, what are some initial key relationships that folks should look into?
Based on my experience, I really like networking, started networking, local networking, and also like potential sources of clients like hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, and even the bigger senior living communities. Those are the major ones. And then also, I've been usually attending the Chamber of Commerce meeting. So at least they know that you exist in the community and they can also promote you. So that's a big one. Those are, I would say, like free networking events. So not
Yeah.
I didn't even spend any amount on those events itself.
That's great. Yeah. And then how about things like a Google My Business page and website, social media? Have you found any benefit to having any of those as well?
Yeah, there is. There's also some benefits on those. Just knowing that you're out in there, because now usually most of them that they will ask, okay, do you have a website or where can we find you? Instantly
Yeah.
they will look you up online, they will search for you. It also plays a role that you're out there in the social media itself. And also we also utilize placement agencies. So having a good relationship with placement agencies, they can kind of like also give you a good referral and also at the same time good feedback, especially if they know that you've been really doing what you promised to these families itself.
That's great. Has there been anything that you learned in terms of helping to build relationships with referral agents or placement agents? Any key insights or tips or tricks that you've developed over the years?
I would say being consistent and being honest, especially with family. Whenever I get a chance, that most of the time, if I'm available, I'm the one who personally still do the tour in these homes. So I will ask them, how can we be a help with your situation? If it is something really that we can provide upfront, I will tell them this is something that we can help you with. If I have a feeling that this is something that beyond what a residential assisted living can do, I tell them maybe this is not yet the perfect timing for you guys. Maybe they need a higher level of care, or maybe they need a skilled nursing assistance or care. I don't want to promise everything, and then at the end of the day, I won't be able to execute. I would say the biggest takeaway is being honest itself day one. So at least they know where are you and what to expect also on their end.
I love that. Yeah, kind of under promise, over deliver, set yourself up for success from that perspective. Let's step back to that first residential assisted living home back in 2017. Tell us a little bit more about that. What was it? How did that set you up for success? What was it like looking for a home to start your business in?
Actually, this first home that we had came from a existing operator. So my wife actually met him through a networking. And then they kind of had a discussion. That guy is on that networking and he's actually looking for someone that could potentially be his successor. He's ready to retire. I believe prior to us, he operated that home for 20 something years.
Wow.
So he's something, and he has kids, but the kids doesn't have any interest of continuing the business. So knowing that he's well known in that community, he wants someone that could continue what he had started, and especially with his current residents at that time. He wanted to have a smooth transition and still having a source of security for the family and the residents, that there will be no change. It's just going to be a new operator, but everything that we've been doing here, all the practices, all the mission and vision will be kept accordingly. So we took over on it. So for our first home, this is a acquisition type. So we took over everything and existing. And same thing on the second home, which is also from the same operator. We took over the same thing on it. And then on the third one, which is something different on our approach, the third one is a ground build. So we lease a property. We did some renovation according to guidance. And then we converted it to a residential assisted living. Same thing with the fourth one.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Kind of experience amongst multiple different strategies of getting into the home. When you got the first and the second home from that same owner, was that at the same time, or did you have the first one for a while and then the owner came back to you and asked if you wanted the second, or were they staggered?
We did it a year after. So we took the first one in 2017. The following year, we took the second one. But actually, that owner, he wanted us to take over both at the same time. So I told them, we want to be honest with the family. This is going to be our first home, and I don't want them to feel like, how are they quality operators? I told them, let's do one first, because I don't want also your name is still going to be linked on this residential assisted facility. So I told them, we'll take over the first one. Once we're settled in, we will take the other one. So we had a contingency clause that we will take it over on the following year.
That's great. Did you buy the real estate as well as the operating business? Okay,
Right.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. How a lot of folks are concerned with funding. And one of the biggest challenges, I think, to getting started in assisted living is the financing and funding of their first deal. What did you do to get that deal financed and funded?
It's actually a mix of some of our personal savings. We did I believe it's like about 10% down payment for the business. Then the remaining, we did a creative financing, like a seller financing from the operator, from the seller itself. So that's how
That's great.
we were able to acquire. And same thing how we did with the second one. Lucky enough, this seller is open with seller financing. And at the same time, he guided us for the full year. Anything is already available for us. All questions that we have, he's open. He just really I feel really grateful for him, because I consider he's my first mentor for residential assisted living. He just really wanted to make sure that whoever's going to be the next operator for his homes will continue the same process, the same mission and vision that he's been doing on it.
That's amazing. What a really cool opportunity for you to come in and already have a mentor in the space. And seller financing is huge. For folks who don't understand what seller financing is, do you mind explaining what seller financing is and how maybe you negotiated that with the seller?
Yeah. So specifically for the business acquisition, we already set in for the total purchase price, and we came up to an agreement of how much for the percentage of the payment. And then the remaining will be paid on a monthly basis. And then we came up also in an agreement how much will be the interest rate. So everything is just really straightforward. There's going to be a certain monthly payment for him, and then it's already been calculated. So also on a clause on his end, that if in the event that we will not be able to fulfill our responsibilities or obligations, or let's say if what happened that we failed the operation in the business, everything that we have paid already is non-refundable. So everything, the down payment, that already goes back to him, and then the business, he can get back the business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, seller financing is such a powerful tool because essentially the seller's acting as the bank for you. And so you don't have to go through a bank and deal with that. And the beautiful thing as well is everything's negotiable. You can negotiate the interest rate, you can negotiate the amortization period. The terms are fully negotiable. And so it's a really great way to do it. One of the latest deals that we purchased was seller financing, and it was a similar situation. It was a mom and pop seller, and they just wanted to retire, and they had about $45,000 in debt that they wanted to pay off. So they were like, hey, how about the down payment be $45,000, and which was 6% of the purchase price. I'm like, that sounds amazing, because you're not going to get that at a bank. And so there's a lot of great ways to do that. And I want to foot stomp for people that are listening. It's when you're reaching out to these potential sellers, and they have a lot of time in the business, and there may be a mom and pop operator who's just looking to retire, you definitely want to bring up the idea of seller financing and explain it to them, because sometimes folks don't even understand what seller financing is, and explain to them like, hey, here are ways that you can, instead of paying an enormous amount of taxes up front for me purchasing this home, now we can spread out those capital gains over time by paying this. You're getting consistent monthly cash flow. And oh, by the way, you're in a first lien position. So if I don't pay you, you're going to get the house back and you're going to get the business back. And so it can be a win-win for everybody. And it can be an opportunity for you to come in for less money down, or a lower interest rate than what market rate is, or lots of different ways to negotiate that. But don't sleep on seller financing. It's such a powerful tool, even to just get started.
That's true. I totally agree. Totally agree on that. Since then, whenever we try to purchase like a property or business, we always offer or ask, is there any way of we can do this on a creative way?
Yeah, it's such a great question to ask. And a lot of times folks don't even think to ask that. So hopefully from this podcast, if they just understand that, if you're listening to this and you just understand to ask, hey, can I do this financing creatively? This podcast will be worth it for sure, because it can be a huge game changer. And one way you can negotiate it is you can say, okay, I'll pay your price, but it has to be on my terms. Or I'll pay my price, but it can be on your terms. And so there's a lot of different ways to work that, and it's really important to consider it. That's great, James. Thanks for sharing that bit of wisdom. That's really important. Let's move forward now. So you open the 4 homes. And next, let's talk about getting fully occupied. Running a residential memory care home is not just a calling, it's a maze of licensure, paperwork, zoning regulations, and day to day challenges that can feel overwhelming. That's why so many successful operators partner with Legato Living franchise. Legato Living does more than just help you open a home. They help you open it the right way, so you can stay focused on what matters, providing exceptional care to those living with dementia. And once your doors are open, it can get lonely at the top. As a Legato Living franchisee, you are never on your own. Legato Living offers ongoing operational support, from staff training and owner conferences to systems, cultures, and quality assurance, because a home is only as good as its operator, and great operators deserve a great partner. If you're ready to open a residential memory care home that truly makes a difference, visit Legato Living and start with confidence today. And you mentioned some of this already, but I want to hit on if there's any other things that you would add to this. So one common challenge that folks have is staying fully occupied with great residents. You mentioned referrals have been a big key to success, to staying occupied. Is there anything else that's helped you stay occupied or keep your homes full or keep residents coming in?
I would say even if we're fully occupied, we still do marketing. If there will be some inquiry, I'll tell them upfront, we don't have any availability, but I'm more than happy to put you on the wait list. But while you're on the wait list, let's go schedule a tour. So that way, it's also a big plus building a wait list. So later on, things happen, like suddenly we're dealing with elderly, we don't know what may happen, sudden health decline. At least we already have like a backup list that, okay, we can call them back. Now I'm expecting to be availability and possibly in a week or two. Are you guys still looking for a home? So at least continuously marketing is a big plus, is a big, I would say, part for keeping the census fully occupied.
Yeah, that is huge, because a lot of times folks just stop the marketing. They're like, hey, I'm only going to pay for marketing when I need a resident. The problem is you don't build up a wait list, and then you have vacancy for a longer period of time. And so that impacts your bottom line even more, because now you have an empty bed, and then you have to pay a placement agent 1 or 1.5 months of that resident rate. And so it just becomes much more costly. So would encourage folks to consider continuing to market, continue your outreach throughout, no matter if your home is fully occupied. That's great advice, James. Do you mind sharing 1 or 2 of the biggest lessons that you've learned from your experience in the assisted living industry?
I would say one of the biggest learning experience on my end is, at the end of the day, what we are taking care in these homes are someone's parent or someone's loved one itself. My point being on that one is, if you wanted to establish or operate a residential assisted living because of the income, it's a good money making business. But if your heart will not be in alignment of the goal itself, I guess that type of operator, you gotta get exhausted easily. I would say you won't be able to last on this one, because it's also kind of, again, we're dealing with elderly. They have a lot of health issues here and there. If you're not able to have a compassionate care with this type of operations, for someone who doesn't have that kind of mission, and if you're just looking into it as more of a economical expansion with your portfolio, I wouldn't even recommend on it, because at the end of the day, we're dealing with someone's parents' life itself. Like, they entrusted their family member to us.
Yeah, that is a perfect answer. I completely agree. It is a tough business. It is really hard work, and it's such an honorable business, right? You're exactly right. Like, we have the opportunity to provide exceptional care to someone's grandma and grandpa, and you need to have that heart. You need to have that mentality. I 100% agree, James. That's a great answer. If you were to start over in this business, what would you do differently? Or what advice would you give to someone who's just getting started in the business?
Same thing, because I have some friends that are starting to get curious on what I'm doing and where am I at. I always tell them, you're more than happy to have a tour in my home. So that way you kind of have an idea on the day-to-day operations, what we do, what we provide. And then later, if you feel like you really wanted things to be done, then I'm more than happy to guide you. And I would say, financial wise, I always still tell them the financial approach on acquisition, the seller financing still really a huge role on it. If you're able to do that route, I would say it's a win-win. But overall, I always tell, for someone who has the kind of like curiosity on it, I tell them it's a lot of work and responsibility, but I'm more than happy for you guys to have a tour so you can see how we do it. I'm not closing my gates, or I'm not having any secret sauce or anything.
Yeah, that's great. I love that go-giver mentality. And I think that's huge. There's such a huge shortage in beds that are available, and there's such a massive need in the country. Like, we need to be encouraging people with the right heart to open up as many assisted living homes and provide as fantastic care as possible, so we can take care of as many elderly as we possibly can, because it's going to be a crisis here in a few years when that supply-demand mismatch continues to grow. So that's fantastic. I wanted to ask you a question about tours. You mentioned a couple times tours, and that you try and give the tour if you're around and available. What are some tips or tricks you have for people when they're giving a tour to a potential resident?
I would say, prior to the actual tour itself, I give them a call. We do a brief conversation. Like, I ask them, I formulated my back questions like, what's the current situation? Where's mom or dad currently at? Any situation, medical history or medical situation needed. If they say, oh, these are the things that we're looking into a home itself. So it also gives us a preparation on what to expect and what are they looking into. And also something that at least we, even from the get-go, we are able to picture the type of resident that we are anticipating for a move-in.
That's great. So get that information up front can be really helpful. When they physically come to the house for the tour, what is that like for you? What does a tour look like? How long does it typically last? Those sorts of things.
I would say between 15 minutes to an hour, depending on like if they're looking for anything specific. Or also, I ask them before, a day before the tour, I will always ask them if possible, write down all the questions that you have. So that way we can address it. Although I also tell them, although I know it's going to be like a short notice and after the tour, follow-up questions will arise. I'm more than happy to answer your questions after the tour. And I always give them my number so they can call or text me on it. Because I told them, you may not be able to remember all the questions, or afterwards you'll say, oh, how about this one? I still make myself available to them. And even with some residents that after the tour, then they said they decided to go to a different home, I still tell them, you have my number. I'm more than happy to help if you have any questions, though, not just for because you didn't move to us, our doors are closed. You can still utilize me if you have any questions.
That's great. Yeah, that's a fantastic way to do it. A big question that folks have a lot of times too is staffing. It can be really difficult to find, attract, and keep good caregivers. Any tips that you've learned on how to find good caregivers, how to retain or keep your staff?
I would say with the retaining caregiver, I don't make them feel that there is a big separation between me as the operator and them being the staff. I want them to feel like they're able to approach me if they have concerns or anything, even suggestions, because I always ask them, if you guys have any suggestions on how we can further improve our care, our quality of service itself, I'm more than happy to listen. I don't want you to feel like, oh, because I'm the operator and you guys are staff, there's a big barrier in between us. I'm always already available.
That's good. Yeah, that bottom-up leadership approach. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, it cut out there. I apologize. Yeah, that bottom-up leadership approach, they're the kind of the more boots on the ground doing the day-to-day care. It's probably helpful to have that feedback. For people who are looking to find good caregivers, have you figured out any strategies on how to find and hire good folks?
I would say majority of our staffs came in from referrals. So they're already referred from someone we knew. So from the get-go, we already knew the referral, and then there's still, even if they came in from a very known person to us, we still give them the same quality of training that they need, because at the end of the day, we still want them to feel like they're equipped with all the training and what to expect, especially with taking care of elderly. Even if they say that they have experience already, that they came from another care home, I always tell them, that's great, you have experience, you already have the idea, but maybe they have some difference with their operation versus how we're doing it. We just want you to be in alignment so all of us will be on the same page by day one.
That's great. What's the number one thing you look for when you're going to hire a new caregiver?
I would say I always ask them their compassion regarding taking care of the family, because for me, if I will hire someone, I'm more than happy to hire someone with no experience and just teach them how to do it now. Because some of them, based on my experience, I have someone who has like a long, extensive experience, but at the end of the day, we're not in alignment with our goals, with our mission, and then everything will fall back with the residents. Everything, the quality of care will be affected. So I told them, having experience is not really a good plus on my end. I'm more than happy to teach you how we will do it. I'm more than happy to train you, as long as you're also open with learning.
That's great. Sounds like that culture, that alignment, that's what you're really looking for. What is the heart of that caregiver? And then you can train them on the skills to provide great care.
That's true. Yeah.
That's great. What do you see are the biggest trends in the assisted living industry right now, especially in residential assisted living?
I would say here in our area in Los Angeles County, there's still a huge demand on it. Although I'm seeing there's a lot of residential assisted living that are opening, there is still a huge demand happening, because on my end, I'm still working in the hospital and I'm still seeing patients in senior living facilities. I'm still seeing that there's still a huge demand on it, and also some elderly that I've been meeting in the hospital, I'm still seeing that most of them are still living on their own. So I told them, I'm happy you're able and you're very independent, but God forbid something happen and you're by yourself. Hopefully nothing too serious, but we're really taking some chances in there. So I would say there's still a huge demand, and hopefully, but the only thing that I'm more hopeful is whoever's going to be the next operator opening up their care homes will have the same vision, or at least having the goal of providing quality care.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's really important and good insights. And as we see more and more baby boomers age into assisted living, we're going to see the need continue to grow even more. Do you see any, or have you seen any big changes in assisted living, or do you feel, or you've seen any new like technology or anything like that really gets you excited in the space?
There's one that I've been hearing. I heard this one about I would say 2 months ago, but I haven't seen any residential assisted living in our area. It's called a remote patient monitor. This one itself, the way that it was described to me is like an Apple Watch. So
Mhm.
what's in there is it could be able to track down the location. And let's say if they're moving around, like from bathroom to bedroom, it kind of like, especially if they're waking up at the middle of the night, like how often do they wake up or how often do they get out of the bed. And one also function that they said on this one is they're able to remotely measure vital signs from it. Although on our end, these are more of like a medical studies, but coming on a nursing background or medical field, you can at least have an idea. So these are the trends that I'm seeing. There could be a lot of technology that are coming in, which is, I would say, is gonna be also helpful and also can add on provide the quality care.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of really cool wearable technology that's coming in the space, and with AI and with all the innovation that's happening. And it's going to be really cool to see how the care increases. And I think hopefully some of the caregiver burden decreases and just helps you to provide better care overall for the seniors. So it's going to be really exciting, I think, over the next few years as we continue to see so much innovation in the senior care space.
That's true. There's gonna be a lot more technology coming in, but I'm still happy on that one because I know it will gonna lessen the caregiver burnout rate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How can we make caregivers more efficient and then let them also assist them to help provide better care? I think it's going to be really important. James, for anyone who's listening, who's on the fence about getting involved or getting started in residential assisted living, what would you say to them?
I would say because on my experience before, I really decided to do the first one. I'm a victim of the analysis paralysis. If action will always beat perfection any time of the day, even if you have a good plan laid out, if you're not really ready to pull the trigger, or if you're not even gonna do that first step, you're not going anywhere. So I would say if you already have the momentum, you really want this one to happen, go do it. Especially now, there's a lot of resources. Like you guys, you guys are really all out in social media. There's a lot of free resources out there. So there's a lot more helps and support.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's huge. And yeah, just be willing to take action, even if that's imperfect action. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting on the sidelines for so long, wondering, yeah, maybe next year, maybe next year. So I would encourage you, take advantage of the free educational resources that are out there. If you want to take that one step forward, join the RAL Room Assisted Living Mastermind and be surrounded by a community of action takers and experts and so forth. It can be really beneficial and help you get started so much sooner. Thanks for that, James. I really appreciate it. Before we go, James, what's something that you're working on right now that you're passionate about?
Oh, currently we're still on the expansion side, expansion of acquisition of residential assisted living, and by end of last year, actually, we were able to did some outs on the bigger scale. We recently did into senior living, the combination of the independent living, assisted living, memory care. I believe it was the third quarter of last year that we were able to acquire a facility in Kentucky. And currently, we're also working on a same thing in Utah, where we're about to close on that one. So we're like moving some into a bigger space, so bigger community. But the residential assisted living, I would say this still gonna be my baby. This still gonna be my heart. Is
That is awesome. What are some things you've learned as you've gone into those bigger acquisitions of larger facilities?
my biggest learning on this one is not a apple to apple comparison. There is a big difference, and from where we are in the residential assisted living and going to the bigger part with through syndication, getting into I would say a team with the same goal, with the same alignment of vision, really plays a big role on it. So being part of a team itself, it will gonna really help us to go to the next step, to the bigger scale.
Absolutely. It all comes back to relationships. As we started the podcast off with, is the importance of relationships. So I think that's a fitting way to wrap it up. James, how can folks reach out to you if they want to reach you, they want to know more, they want to potentially invest with you?
Yeah, I'm in Facebook. We go by the name of NPs in Real Estate. And also in Instagram, we go by NPs in Real Estate. And I'm more than happy to share my number here too. They can call or even text me. My number is 818-428-5352. That's my personal phone itself. So I could text messaging or phone calls. I'm more than happy to help.
That's awesome. James, you're very brave sharing your phone number on the podcast. So that is awesome. James Contreras, thank you so much for joining us today on the Rail Room Assisted Living podcast. Thank you for sharing your insights. It's been a pleasure learning from you. And I can't wait to just keep watching you grow and scale over the next couple of years. So thanks so much for your time, and I hope you have a great night.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity and grateful to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Rail Room Assisted Living podcast. We hope you found today's episode insightful. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave us a raving 5-star review. And a quick review helps more listeners find the show and more seniors get the exceptional care they deserve.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And just so you know, we have prepared some free resources for you to help you succeed in residential assisted living in addition to this podcast. Head over to theralroom.com, that is theralroom.com, to download our free 10-step guide to launch your first or next residential assisted living home, or our 10 reasons to passively invest in residential assisted living ebooks.
And if you're ready to take the next step and make real moves in the RAL industry, join us in the Rail Room Mastermind. It is an exclusive community where we deep dive into everything you need to launch and grow your own residential assisted living business. You'll get access to recorded courses, live calls with industry experts, a RAL calculator, resources and tools, like-minded entrepreneurs, funding opportunities, and an expert networking community to help you along your journey. Be sure to join us next time on the Rail Room podcast as we continue to explore the world of residential assisted living with more great guests. See you then.